Tessel, Bauduin, The Occult and the Visual Arts. Introduction. In 1969, German artist Sigmar Polke, dead 2010, created a large canvas with one black corner and a type message reading Höherwesen befallen, rechte opere ecce sversmalen. High beings command paint the upper right corner black. The painting has variously been interpreted as satirical, ironical, humorous, or a critical commentary of contemporary artistic styles and culture, suggesting the involvement of high beings. The painting also refers to mediumistic and spiritualist art or artworks made by mediums under the guidance of, it was claimed, spirits or similar entities. This practice was widespread in Europe during the late 19th and early 20th century. The painting can be further said to refer more generally to the relationship with metaphysical, spiritual and occult thought that is a very significant, possibly even integral part of modern art. Even as the art historians and critics of the 1960s attempted to write the history of modern art without any mention of anything spiritual or occult, or indeed of anything religious. In fact, artists such as Polke were not only deeply interested in occult sources and ideas themselves, but also very much aware of the occult interests of their direct predecessors. This chapter presents a brief overview of select artists who, since the late 19th century, have shown some interest in occultism. It will first explore the relationship between symbolism, spiritualism and theosophy in the late 19th century, and subsequently the modern European avant-gardes between the 1910s and 1940s, finally touching briefly upon artists in the 1950s and their relation to occultism. The main focus of discussion is the visual arts, principally fine art painting. This is not, of course, to say that the other arts, such as literature, music and dance, were less involved in with occultism. They were not. While the discussion here is limited to those artists who have shown an interest in occultism, this is not intended to convey the notion that all modern artists looked favorably upon occultism or were even familiar with it. Occultism is but one current informing the various movements and individuals categorized under headings such as modern art. From the second half of the 19th century up to the 1970s and the historical avant-gardes, still, as occultism is quietly closely tied to the experience of modernism, as Streitel and Owen, among others, have argued, it is only to be expected that the movement left a distinct trail in modern art. Occult views, ideas, beliefs and practices permeated modernist artistic culture to a significant extent, and a great many artists in literature, music, dance, architecture, and the visual arts, painting, sculpture, photography and film drew on occult ideas and experiences to fuel their creativity. We should note that the interest in occultism varied considerably between individuals, groups and movements. It ranged from the briefest and most incidental of references to a single source, on the one hand, to active membership of occult organizations and full commitment to occult beliefs on the other. Most artists occupied a position somewhere in between these two poles. Some artists became practicing occultists, others attended lectures or read occult material, others eschewed any personal involvement in or even knowledge of occultism, but still made occult topics the subject of works of art. With regard to works of art, the spectrum stretches between an artwork that employs the occult as subject, plot device, topos or atmospheric scheme, That is, for instance, many of the works of Spanish artist Francisco Goya, for instance, to an artwork that functions foremost as an object of devotion or tool in spiritual practices, as a traditional icon does. Such occult art, as it were, will not be discussed here. Still, while the focus here lies upon art that is foremost art, even the artists themselves participate in occult milieus, it will nonetheless become clear that besides offering content and or providing an inspirational worldview and spiritual concepts, occultism's own visual culture extended a considerable influence over modern art. Finally, it should be noted that this chapter provides a brief overview which thoroughly penetrates the surface of modern art's deep and complex interaction with occultism. The groundwork for a re-evaluation of the spirituality of modern art was laid with an important 1986 exhibition curated by Maurice Tuchman. Other curators since then have followed in his footsteps, and the catalogues are the starting point for any serious investigation of this topic. As the occult spirituality of abstraction has been the initial driving force behind much research, the relationship between early abstract art and theosophy and anthroposophy has now become an accepted fact in art history. Only recently, however, has the considerable influence of spiritualism and its visual culture in particular upon modern art been pointed out. Hence, this will be discussed more extensively below. And this shows a picture by Polke, höhere Wesen befallen, rechte opere Eckes Schwachmalen. And this is my reading for today from this article by Bauduin, Tessel, Polke. It sounds very funny, Polke, like you're dancing. Höhere Wesen befallen. Rechte, ogere, Ecke, Schwarzmalen. Yeah, thank you.